Tennessee Williams, A Glass Menagerie, Scene 7. We'll be breaking Scene 7 into two parts. It's a long scene, so we're going to do the first half of it today, finish up the play tomorrow. Scene 7 takes place a half an hour later. Dinner is just being finished in the dining room. Laura is still huddled upon the sofa, her feet drawn under her, head resting on a pale blue pillow, her eyes wide and mysteriously watchful. The new floor lamp, with its shade of rose-colored silk, gives a soft, becoming light to her face, bringing out the fragile, earthly prettiness which usually escapes attention. From outside, there is a steady murmur of rain, but it is slackening and soon stops. The air outside becomes pale and luminous as the moon breaks through the clouds. A moment after the curtain rises, the lights in both rooms flicker and go out. So a moment after the curtain rises, the lights in both of the rooms flicker and go out. Jim, hey there, Mr. Lightbulb. Amanda laughs nervously. Legend on the screen, suspension of public service. Amanda, where was Moses when the lights went out? Do you know the answer to that one, Mr. O'Connor? No, ma'am. What's the answer? In the dark. Jim laughs appreciatively. Everybody sit still. I'll light the candles. Isn't it lucky we have them on the table? Now, where's a match? Which of you gentlemen can provide a match? Jim, here. Well, thank you, sir. Not at all, ma'am. Amanda, as she lights the candle. I guess the fuse is burnt out. Mr. O'Connor, can you tell a burnt-out fuse? I know I can't, and Tom is a total loss when it comes to mechanics. They rise from the table and go into the kitchenette, from where their voices are heard. Oh, be careful to bump into Ensign to something. We don't want our gentleman caller to break his neck. Now, wouldn't that be a fine howdy-do? Jim. Oh, yeah. Oh, where's the fuse box? Right there next to the stove. Can you see anything? Just a minute. Isn't electricity a mysterious thing? Wasn't it Benjamin Franklin who tied a key to a kite? We live in such a mysterious universe, don't we? Some people say that science clears up all the mysteries for us. In my opinion, it only creates more. Have you found it yet? No, ma'am. All these fuses look okay to me. Tom? Yes, Mother. That light bill I gave you several days ago, the one I told you we got the notices about. Legend on the screen. Ha. Tom. Oh, yeah. You didn't neglect to pay it by any chance. Why, I didn't. I didn't. I might have known it. Shakespeare probably would have wrote a poem on that light bill, Mrs. Wingfield. I might have known better than to trust him with it. There's such a high price for negligence in this world. Maybe the poem will be a $10 prize. We'll just have to spend the remainder of the evening in the 19th century before Mr. Edison made the Mazda lamp. Candlelight is my favorite kind of light. Well, that shows you're romantic, but there's no excuse for Tom. Well, we got through dinner. Very considerate of them to let us get through dinner before they plunged us into everlasting darkness, wasn't it, Mr. O'Connor? Tom, as penalty for your carelessness, you can help me with the dishes. Let me give you a hand. No, indeed you will not. I ought to be good for something. Well, good for something. Her tone is rhapsodic. Well, you, Mr. O'Connor. Why, Mr. O'Connor, nobody has given me this much entertainment in years as you have. Oh, now, Mrs. Wingfield. I'm not exaggerating, not one bit. But sister is all by her lonesome. You can go and keep her company in the parlor. I'll give you this lovely old candelabrum that used to be on the altar at the Church of the Heavenly Rest. It was melted a little out of shape when the church burned down. Lightning struck it one spring. Gypsy Jones was holding a revival at the time, and he intimated that the church was destroyed because the Episcopalians gave card parties. Oh, and how about you coaxing sister to drink a little wine? I think it'd be good for her. Can you carry both at once? Oh, sure, I'm Superman. Now, Thomas, get into this apron. Jim comes into the dining room carrying the candelabrum, its candles lighted in one hand and a glass of wine in the other. The door of the kitchenette swings closed on Amanda's gay laughter. The flickering light approaches the portieres. Laura sits up nervously as Jim enters. She can hardly speak from the almost intolerable strain of being alone with a stranger. Screen legend, I don't suppose you remember me at all. At first, before Jim's warmth overcomes her paralyzing shyness, Laura's voice is thin and breathless, as though she has just run up a steep flight of stairs. Jim's attitude is gently humorous. While the incident is apparently unimportant, it is to Laura the climax of her secret life. Jim. Hello there, Laura. Laura, faintly. Hello. She clears her throat. How you feeling? Better? Yes. Yes, thank you. This is for you, a little dandelion wine. He extends a glass towards her with an extravagant gallantry. Thank you. No, don't drink it, but don't get drunk. He laughs heartily. Laura takes the glass uncertainly. She laughs shyly. Where shall I set the candles? Anywhere. How about here on the floor? Any objections? Oh. I'll spread a newspaper under to catch the drippings. I like to sit on the floor. Mind if I do? Oh, no. Give me a pillow. What? A pillow? Oh. She hands him one quickly. How about you? Don't you like to sit on the floor? Oh, yes. Why don't you then? I will. Take a pillow. Laura does. She sits on the floor. On the other side of the candelabrum, Jim crosses his legs and smiles engagingly at her. I can hardly see you from way over there. I can see you. I know, but that's not fair. I'm in the limelight. Laura moves her pillow closer. Good. Now I can see you. Comfortable? Yes. So am I. Comfortable as a cow. Will you have some gum? No, thank you. I think I will indulge. With your permission, Jim musingly unwraps a stick of gum and holds it up. Think of the fortune made by the guy that invented the first piece of chewing gum. Amazing, huh? The Wrigley Building is one of the sights in Chicago. I saw it when I went up to the Century of Progress. Did you take in the Century of Progress? No, I didn't. Well, it was quite a wonderful exposition. What impressed me most was the Hall of Science. Gives you an idea of what the future will be in America, even more wonderful than the present time is. There's a pause. Jim smiles at her. Brother tells me you're shy. Is that right, Laura? I don't know. I judge you to be an old-fashioned type of girl. Well, I think that's a pretty good type to be. I hope you don't, think of being too personal, do you? Laura hastily, out of embarrassment. I believe I will take a piece of gum if you don't mind, clearing her throat. Mr. O'Connor, have you kept up with your singing? Singing? Me? Yes, I remember what a beautiful voice you had. When did you hear me singing? Laura does not answer. And in the long pause which follows, a man's voice is heard singing off stage. You heard me, you say you've heard me sing? Oh, yes, very often. I don't suppose you remember me at all. Jim smiling doubtfully. I have an idea. I've seen you before. I had that idea as soon as you opened the door. It seemed almost like I was about to remember your name, but then the name that I started to call you wasn't a name. And so I stopped myself before I said it. Wasn't it Blue Roses? Jim springing up, grinning. Blue Roses. My gosh, yes. Blue Roses. That's what I had on my tongue when you opened the door. Isn't it funny what tricks your memory? Isn't it funny what tricks your memory plays? I didn't connect you with the high school somehow or other, but that's where it was. It was high school. I didn't even know you were Shakespeare's sister. Gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't expect you to. You barely knew me, but we did have a speaking acquaintance, huh? Well, yes, we spoke to each other. When did you recognize me? Oh, right away. As soon as I came in the door. Well, when I heard your name, I thought it was probably you. I knew that Tom used to know you a little in high school. So when you came to the door, well, then I was sure. Well, why didn't you say something then? Laura breathlessly. I didn't know what to say. I was too surprised. Oh, for goodness sakes, this is sure is funny. Yes, isn't it? Now, didn't we have a class or something together? Yes, we did. What class was that? It was singing, chorus. Oh, I sat across the aisle from you in the auditorium. Oh, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Well, now I remember. You always came in late. Yes. Yes, it was so hard for me getting upstairs. I had that brace on my leg. It clumped so loud. I never heard any clumping. Laura wincing at the recollection. To me, it sounded like thunder. Jim, well. I never even noticed. I mean, everybody was seated before I came in. I had to walk in front of all those people. My seat was in the back row. I had to go clumping all the way up the aisle with everyone watching. You shouldn't have been self-conscious. I know, but I was. It was always such a relief when the singing started. Oh, yes. Yes, I placed you now. I used to call you Blue Roses. How was it that I got calling you that? Well, I was out of school a little while with pleurosis. And when I came back, you asked me what was the matter. I said I had pleurosis, and you thought I said blue roses. That's what you always call me after that. I hope you didn't mind. Oh, no. I liked it. You see, I wasn't acquainted with many people. Yes, I remember that you sort of stuck by yourself. I never had much luck with making friends. I don't see why you wouldn't. Well, no, I started out badly. You mean being, well, it sort of stood between me. Well, you shouldn't have let it. I know, but it did. And you were shy with people. I tried not to be, but I never could overcome it. No, I never could. I guess being shy is something you have to work out kind of gradually. Laura sorrowfully. Yeah, yes, I guess. No, it takes time. Yes. People are not so dreadful when you know them. That's what you have to remember. Everybody has problems, not just you, but practically everybody has got some problems. You think of yourself as having the only problems, as being the only one who is disappointed. But just look around you and you'll see lots of people as disappointed as you are. For instance, I hoped when I was going to high school that I would be further along at this time 6 years later than I am now. You remember that wonderful write-up I had in the Torch? Yes. She runs and she rises and crosses to the table. It said I was bound to succeed in anything I went into. Laura returns with the high school yearbook. Holy jeez, the Torch. Tom accepts it reverently. They smile across the book with mutual wonder. Laura crouches beside him and they begin to turn the pages. Laura's shyness is dissolving in his warmth. Here you are in The Pirates of Penzance. Jim, I sang the baritone lead in that operetta so beautifully. Oh, yes, beautifully. Beautifully. You heard me? All 3 times? No. Yes. All 3 performances? Yes. Why? I wanted to ask you to autograph my program. She takes the program from the back of the yearbook and shows it to him. Well, why didn't you just ask me? Well, you're always surrounded by your own friends, so I never had a chance to. Well, you should have just, I thought you might think that I was what? Thought I might think you was what? Well, with a reflective relish. I was beleaguered by females in those days. Well, you were terribly popular. Yeah. You had such a friendly way. I was spoiled in high school. Everybody liked you, including you. Yes, I did too. Laura gently closes the book in her lap. Well. Give me that program, Laura. Laura hands it to him. He signs it with a flourish. There you are. Better late than never. What a surprise. My signature isn't worth very much right now, but someday maybe it will increase in value. Being disappointed is one thing, and being discouraged is something else. I'm disappointed, but I am not discouraged. I'm 23 years old. How old are you, Laura? I'll be 24 in June. Well, that's not old age. No, but you finished high school? With difficulty. I didn't go back. You mean you dropped out? I made bad grades in my final examinations. She rises and places the book and the program on the table. Her voice is strained. How is Emily Meisenbeck getting along? Ugh, that krauthead. Why do you call her that? Well, that's what she was. Well, you're not still going with her. I never see her. It said in the personal section that you were engaged. I know, but I wasn't impressed by that propaganda. It wasn't the truth, only in Emily's optimistic opinion. Oh, Legend, what have you done since high school? Jim lights a cigarette and leans indolently back on his elbow, smiling at Laura with a warmth and charm which lights her inwardly with altar candles. Laura remains by the table, picks up the piece from the glass menagerie collection, and turns it in her hands to cover her tumult. Jim, after several reflective puffs on his high school. What have you done since high school? Laura seems not to hear him. Huh? Laura looks up. I said, what have you done since high school, Laura? Nothing much. Well, you must have done something these 6 long years. Well, yes. Well, then, such as what? I took a business course at business college. Well, how did that work out? Well, not very well. I had to drop out. It gave me indigestion, and Jim laughs gently. Well, what are you doing now? I don't do anything much. Please don't think I sit around doing nothing. My glass collection takes a good deal of time. Glass is something you have to take care of. What did you say about glass? Collection, I said. I have one. Laura clears her throat and turns away again, acutely shy. Jim abruptly. You know what I judge to be the trouble with you? Inferiority complex. You know what that is? That's what they call it when someone low rates himself. I understand it because I had it too. Although my case was not as aggravated as yours seemed to be. I had it until I took up public speaking. I developed my voice, learned that I had an aptitude for science. Before that time, I never thought of myself as being outstanding in any way whatsoever. Now I've never made a regular study of it, but I have a friend who says I can analyze people better than doctors make a profession of it. I don't claim that necessarily to be true, but I can be sure to guess a person's psychology, Laura. He takes out his gum. Excuse me, Laura, I always take it out when the flavor is gone. I'll use this scrap of paper to wrap it in. I know how it gets stuck on a shoe. Jim wraps up the gum in a paper and puts it in his pocket. Yep, that's what I thought to be your principal trouble, a lack of confidence in yourself as a person. You don't have the proper amount of faith in yourself. I'm basing that fact on a number of your remarks and also on certain observations I've made. For instance, that clumping you thought was so awful in high school. You say that you even dreaded to walk into class. You see what you did? You dropped out of school. You gave up an education because of a clump, which as far as I know was practically non-existent. A little physical defect is what you have. Hardly noticeable even. Magnified thousands of times by imagination. You know what my strong advice to you is? Think of yourself as superior in some way. In what way would I think? Well, man alive, Laura, just look at you a little. What do you see? A world full of common people, all of them born and all of them going to die. Which of them has 1/10 of your good points or mine or anyone else's as far as that goes? Gosh, everybody excels in some one thing, some in many. Jim unconsciously glances at himself in the mirror. All you've got to do is discover in what? Well, take me, for instance. Tom adjusts his tie in the mirror. My interests happen to lie in electrodynamics. I'm taking a course in radio engineering in night school, Laura, on top of a fairly responsible job at the White House. I'm taking that course and studying public speaking. Oh, yeah, because I believe in the future of television. Jim turns his back to her. I wish to be ready for that. I wish to be ready to go up right along with him. Therefore, I am planning to get in on the ground floor. In fact, I've already made the right connections, and all of it remains is for the industry itself to get underway. Full steam. His eyes are starry. Knowledge, zip. Money, zip. Power. That's the cycle democracy. That's the cycle democracy is built on. And that's where we're going to pause today. We will finish the Glass Menagerie in session 8 of the Principals Read Along. Have a great day.